Welcome back to U.S. Command Intelligence. What just happened in the Strait of Hormuz is not an isolated maritime incident. It is not a random enforcement action, and it is not something that will stay contained within regional headlines. It is a signal, a calculated move executed in one of the most strategically sensitive waterways on Earth. Two commercial vessels have been seized by Iranian forces while crossing the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage that carries a significant portion of the world's energy supply. And when something happens here, it immediately transcends geography, because this is not just about ships. It is about control over one of the most critical arteries of the global economy. It is about the ability to influence movement, to introduce uncertainty, and to apply pressure without launching a conventional attack. Moments like this do not begin with escalation, they begin with signals, and the signal sent here is precise, controlled, and deliberate. Before we go deeper, if you're here for analysis that goes beyond headlines and actually explains what's happening beneath the surface, take a second to like, share, and subscribe. And I want to hear from you as well. Where are you watching from, and how do you see this situation developing? Because what we are about to break down is not being fully explained in mainstream coverage. To understand the weight of this event, you have to understand the location. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a waterway, it is a choke point, a narrow corridor connecting the Persian Gulf to global markets, through which roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply moves every day. Tankers carrying energy from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, and Iraq all pass through this single stretch of water. There is no easy alternative route at scale. There is no redundancy system that can replace it in the short term. This means that stability in this corridor is not optional, it is essential. When vessels are intercepted or seized here, the impact is immediate. Shipping companies reassess routes, insurance rates increase, markets begin to react to potential disruption, and governments begin recalculating risk. This is why even a limited incident in this location carries global consequences. Iranian naval forces intercepted and seized two vessels transiting through the strait. Details around the vessels and their ownership are still being clarified in reporting, but the operational pattern follows previous incidents observed in the region. This is not the first time Iran has taken action against commercial shipping. But what matters here is not frequency, it is timing and context. This action was executed without large-scale military engagement. There were no airstrikes, no missile launches, no direct confrontation with U.S. naval forces. Instead, this was precise, limited, controlled, and that control is what makes it strategically significant, because it demonstrates capability without triggering immediate escalation. What we are seeing here is part of a broader strategic pattern. Modern geopolitical competition is no longer defined only by direct military confrontation. Increasingly, it operates through pressure applied to systems rather than forces. In this case, the system is global energy flow. By targeting commercial vessels instead of military assets, Iran is operating below the threshold that typically triggers immediate large-scale retaliation. At the same time, it is introducing risk into a system that depends on predictability. This creates leverage, because when uncertainty enters a system, every participant begins adjusting behavior. Shipping companies reroute, markets react, governments respond, and all of that happens without a single missile being fired. The United States maintains a significant naval presence in the region with one primary objective: ensuring freedom of navigation. But incidents like this create a difficult decision environment. A strong military response risks escalation, a limited response risks appearing ineffective, and no response at all creates uncertainty about deterrence. This is the core dilemma. Because the action taken here is calibrated, it is designed to stay below the threshold of direct confrontation while still applying pressure. And responding to that kind of move is far more complex than responding to an overt attack. The effects of this event extend far beyond the region. Energy markets are highly sensitive to disruptions in supply routes. Even the perception of instability in the Strait of Hormuz can lead to price volatility. Insurance costs for shipping increase. Risk assessments change, and supply chain calculations begin to shift. This is because the global energy system is interconnected. A disruption in one location affects pricing, logistics, and planning worldwide. And that is why actions in this region carry disproportionate weight. This incident fits into a larger pattern, Across multiple regions, we are seeing a shift towards strategies that target systems rather than engage directly with military forces. This includes maritime pressure, economic influence, and strategic signaling. These actions are designed to influence outcomes without triggering full scale war, and that is what makes them effective because they operate in a space where response options are limited and consequences are difficult to predict. What happened in the Strait of Hormuz is not the end of a sequence. It is part of an ongoing pattern, a pattern defined by controlled pressure, strategic signaling, and calculated moves. This was not chaos, it was deliberate. And it serves as a reminder that control over key global choke points remains one of the most powerful tools in modern geopolitics. The real question now is not just what happened, it is how the system responds. Drop your analysis in the comments if this breakdown gave you clarity beyond the noise. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we will see you in the next one.